Hi there, my name is Heather J. Crider, and I welcome you to the Go Reflect Yourself podcast. I'm here to bring you real, practical, brain-based strategies helping you transform your life, one thought at a time. Working hard and staying busy will only get you so far. To truly become happy, content, and who you're meant to be, you have to move beyond physical capacities and look from within, allowing you to overcome those obstacles and barriers. My mission is to help inspire you to take massive action to transform your life, all starting from the inside out. I invite you to watch or listen to this podcast and share it with others who you feel can also benefit from it. I invite you to join my free Facebook group, Beat Burnout. That's where we provide more practical neuroscience and mindset strategies, helping you reduce stress, anxiety, and overcome overwhelm. Thank you so much for being here. I'm honored and grateful for you.
You are stronger than you believe. You have greater powers than you know.
Emotions. Oh my goodness. Emotions can sometimes really completely get in our way. Wanted to bring you a conversation that I've had quite a lot lately. And it's a very interesting one because emotions are a little tricky. And the reason I say that is because we're actually taught not to really have emotions for ourselves, or not to feel certain ways, or really to disconnect completely from who we are. And I'm not going to go too far down that particular rabbit hole right now, but I do want to bring up a very specific type of emotion that blocks us, increases procrastination, really stops our momentum of productivity, which is confusion and confrontation. And when we think about any time you're trying to change something in your life, or whether you're wanting a new lifestyle, new diet, growing your business, offering a new service, having your sight set on a new promotion, enhancing your life in some way, whatever it is that's different or growing or just out of the normal patterns, you're likely to encounter lots of emotions, but specifically the emotion of confusion. And here's the thing about confusion. When you get confused and confronted with something different or something out of the normal, this is actually a very good thing. And the reason it's a good thing is it means you're learning something, or you have the possibility or potential of learning something about yourself. And you're probably going to be entering into a period of growth, or again, maybe an opportunity for change. So I'm going to unpack this a little bit more, but I always go back to, who is it that you want to be when you're really thinking about who is this you're wanting to be? So maybe you're wanting to be someone who is more productive in their business, or that business is just coming to them like a magnet. You're wanting to become the person who creates the business is just on fire and growing rapidly, or the person who gets promotions very quickly or easily, or whatever it might be, the person who has the lifestyle that promotes a very healthy living where you are at the ideal weight. What are the qualities behind that person? The things I just described are the tangibles, if you will, what you want to achieve. But really, who is it underneath that? Who is it that you want to become? And then really, what are the feelings that you want to feel? So if you get the new promotion, you want to feel proud and accomplished. You want to feel more successful. If your business is growing, you want to feel successful. If your idea to even have a business takes off, you want to be proud of that and feel relief, or feel just excited, or feel like, yeah, I can do this. Whatever it is, the bigger question that we're really here today for is, when you're encountering something new and you do hit that confusion or that confrontation of confusion, who is it that you are then? That's the most important question right now. When you hit confusion or when you're experiencing confusion or confrontation, who are you in that moment? Who are you in those moments that is dealing with this? Because confusion becomes one of the tricks of the mind that keeps you nice and cozy and safe and comfortable in your comfort zone, in your habits, in your routines, in your patterns. Anytime we hit confusion, it's a little painful because it's outside of that comfort zone. So the first step to growth with anything is awareness. Noticing when you get confused and uncomfortable, just noticing this is a little uncomfortable. I'm confused, noticing and being aware of it. And instead of thinking and saying, I'm confused, this is too much, I'm going to shut down, I'm just going to go offline. Sometimes you do need a break to process, but that's not what I'm talking about here right now. I'm talking about that point of confusion and confrontation to the point where you completely shut down and you're like, can't deal with it, don't want to deal with it, not going to deal with it. I'm not going to think about it here because it's too hard, it's too frustrating, and I'm just going to retreat and essentially shut everything down and retreat back to what is comfortable, what is the normal way of processing, which is the current you, the current who you are, that current way of being. And we're not trying to go backwards. If we want the promotion or we want the growth in our business or we want the enhancement in our relationship or even to attract a relationship or we want more quality clients or we want to finally just get momentum, whatever that is that we want, the current way of being, there's something in our way. There's something in how we are currently being, who we are currently being, that we don't want to continue going backwards. And every time we have an opportunity in confrontation, in confusion, that is a huge opportunity to go forward and encountering these emotions of saying, there's something potentially that I need to learn here or observe or just be aware of or just be honest about so I can move forward and grow and really start becoming that who that I want to be. So the question always becomes, how do I do this? These things sound great in theory. My conscious mind understands, my intellectual mind gets what you're saying. But guess what, Heather? When I'm confused, when I have this confrontation, when these emotions come up, it's too much to process through and not go backwards. So how do I do this? That's always the magic question. And the first thing is when you notice, first, it's noticing and recognizing. Intentionally recognizing and saying, okay, this confusion, I'm noticing I'm confused, or I'm noticing that I have confrontation, these emotions that are making me confused. Recognizing it. That's it. First thing, notice, recognize. Okay, being aware. I'm aware. Then intentionally saying to yourself, thinking to yourself, this might mean I'm in the process of learning something new. If I continue to work through and not allow the confusion to pull me way back, there might be something on the other side, or that I might be learning along the way, or that I might learn, or I will learn. However you want to phrase it, it doesn't matter. Confusion might mean we're in the process of learning something new. Confusion always means there's a lesson, always. Maybe it's simply just to calm down. Maybe it's a simple lesson of you're tired or you're hungry or you're not taking care of yourself, and it's way easy to get super confused when you're in that state of being. There's always something to be aware of. So in order to move forward, perhaps The idea is it's kind of like taking a Rubik's Cube and continuing to move it around in different shapes, look at different angles, look at the different perspectives, and looking at really seeing the opportunity and that there might be something new here. We have to learn how to challenge our beliefs and have the ability to kind of step back and say, okay, this is the way I approach this thing. This is the confusion I'm currently feeling. What if I kind of turn it on its side? What if I challenge? What if I ask questions? What if I continue to look at what might be the lesson here? What are the different angles that I really need to look at? And what are the different beliefs that I need to approach? Because here's the thing about emotions. There's always a deep down belief somewhere in there when we start stripping down the layers of our emotions, our thoughts. There's a belief of some sort. And all beliefs are anyway, are perceived thoughts that become habits. You become autopilot with beliefs, believing something, you're doing something without even knowing you're really believing it. In other words, all beliefs are our perceptions of thoughts based upon past experiences. Doesn't mean that the belief is actually true to what you want to believe. It just means that the belief becomes a pattern. We can change our beliefs. There's a lot of subconscious reprogramming that needs to take place, but one of the first keys is doing what I just said, challenging it, really looking at how you're approaching, I'm confused, which means there's something I need to learn here. There's something I need to look at. So maybe I need to challenge the way I'm approaching or challenge the way I'm thinking, or look at the beliefs, look at how I'm even processing this entire situation. And when you are challenged in a way, what happens is actually our ego is what is getting in the way. Ego is when we think we're doing something in a way that we think is right. And when we get challenged, perhaps that there's a different way, like growing your business. Maybe you were doing something to market your business and somebody comes along and says, hey, no, here's a little bit different way. Here's a better way. Your ego is the first line of defense of saying, basically, how dare you tell me I wasn't doing it right? And that's not what's happening. What's happening is saying, hey, if you want to grow, this might be a shortcut, or this might be a better way of growing. Take a look at this. Maybe, maybe not. But the confusion usually lies directly to our ego of what we're tied to or holding on to as a truth, which may or may not be a truth. So especially when you're in business or you're a business owner or an entrepreneur, there's so many things that you have to think and decide on your own. So the ego really can get in the way. And ego is designed to protect us, but sometimes recognizing, hey, I'm confused, I'm being challenged, I'm really reverting back to a way of thinking, this ego of mine, maybe I could set it aside for a second and have the opportunity to look at different angles. Maybe there might be a better way. If you want a promotion and somebody comes along and says, hey, if you really want this promotion, you might want to think about this. Test it out. Feel how it feels to you. Maybe what they're saying is not in alignment with who you want to become and not in alignment with really deep down how you believe or what your values are. And that's a whole different layer of all this. The point right now is just knowing and recognizing that the red flag that the ego throws up saying, I'm being threatened here and I don't like it, because our brain, the habits and patterns we get into, it's designed to keep us safe. And that safe, cozy habit and pattern is just that. It's safe and cozy. And anytime something new comes along, it's perceived as a threat. And so that's what we have to work against. That's what we have to constantly take a step back, have the awareness of the feeling, have the awareness, this feels confusing. This feels icky. I always use icky as my just not so feeling good word. We just had several lessons in my private Limitless Freedom to Thrive program, which is a complete program to reprogram the subconscious brain to quickly get to the life, to the business, to the freedom and fulfillment that you really want. And one of the lessons we went super, super deep into were the power of emotions and how emotions really, at the end of the day, block us from our goodness, because it's painful sometimes to really be honest and shine light on what emotions are coming through and what the beliefs are behind them. So for today, my takeaway that I want to leave with you is next time you confront something or you're confronted with something that feels extremely confusing or emotional, just ask yourself, is this an opportunity to really learn something? Have the awareness that this emotion might be sending you backwards instead of forwards. Confusion, remember, is one of the tricks the mind plays on us to keep us nice and safe and cozy in our current habits and patterns. To grow, I'm going to say this very bluntly, to grow, sometimes we have to do the hard work. And this is what separates the super achievers from the average. And if you want to be average, that's fine. There's no judgment. If you don't want to do the work, there's no judgment whatsoever to that. It's your decision. But if you're constantly saying, I'm confused, I'm confused, I'm confused, or this is so emotional, I don't know what to do, you can only be the one to take a step back and say, okay, my brain, this confusion is keeping me safe in my comfort zone. These habits and patterns that I have are why this confusion is setting in. I'm noticing it's uncomfortable. Now, instead of shutting down and letting the confusion overtake my emotions, keeping me stuck, keeping me in a place where I'm unable to see different ways of thinking and being, instead of staying there, confront it in a way of this is an opportunity to learn and grow. And if you can just accept it for that initially, just purely accepting, I'm confused. Okay. I'm being confronted. Okay. This might be an opportunity to learn and grow. On the other side, when I no longer feel this confusion, I'm going to be ahead of where I'm at right now. Just accepting that is one of the first steps. That's the how. And so if you constantly think back, who is it that I want to be? Who do I want to become? If I achieve these things, which I'm stuttering because everything's a state of mind, everything's a choice in the present moment of how you actually want to be in your current being. But when you think about the future who, you can be that person right now. You have the choice to be that person right now. And it starts with this. It starts with just having that awareness of this is a good thing that I'm confused and confronted. So try it. Next time you really hit that wall, just see how that feels, just kind of leaning in to acceptance and awareness, and then seeing how that works. Any questions? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. We'll talk soon. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Go Reflect Yourself. Please rate and review this episode. And if something moved you, please feel free to share. For more inspired action or to stay in touch, head on over to goreflectyourself.com or heatherjcrider.com. You can also take the growth mindset quiz and learn where your current growth mindset lies. Stay in touch on all social media at Heather J. Crider. Until next time, this is your host, Heather Crider, and I am challenging you to go reflect yourself so you can discover and become who you are meant to be.